So here is the unpresent truth. AI is coming for your jobs. Heck, it's coming for my job too. This is a wake-up call. It does not matter if you are a programmer, a designer, a product manager, data scientist, lawyer, AI is coming for you. If you do not become an exceptional talent at what you do, a master, you will face the need for career change in a matter of months. Are we all doomed? What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in on Stories and Status. It's been a couple months since I last sat down to share anything with you, and I really missed it because, as I've said before in the podcast, like doing this, sitting down every single week to look in my diary and find things that I found interesting helps me. That approach helps me find more interesting things in my life, find more interesting things in people that I'm talking to, experiences that I'm having. And I genuinely love that about the process of, creating a podcast and having to do it every single week too. But I took a few days off because I wanted to rethink how I want to continue moving forward with the podcast. I do this alone. It's really not the ideal way you do a podcast. Ideally, I would want to sit down with people, have a conversation. For that, you have to have a studio. There's a lot of things, logistical things that are not necessarily possible at the extent that I want to do it at the moment. So my approach is always, if something is not working out, like what is the minimum thing that I can do as a version of that, right? And the fact that I can't have people on, or that I don't have the logistics of having people on that allows to have people on figured out doesn't necessarily mean that I will only start when that happens, right? I need to still, keep showing up. I still have things that I'm interested to explore and, that I think if I share them also would be useful to you, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to continue to do that. But I wanted to take a little bit of time to think about how do I continue doing this in a way that is sustainable, but also enjoyable for me, right? Because it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work to have to find something useful every week that I can share. And sometimes you just need to have a strategy of how you need to do things. And speaking of strategy, I have two things that I want to share with you this week. And one is about, business strategy. I've been reading a book called This is Strategy by Seth Godin, who I've mentioned before on the podcast. There's a few things that I learned there that I wanted to share with you. And then we're going to talk about something I think that concerns everybody. If you don't care about the second thing that I'm going to talk about, you are basically living in a world that doesn't exist no more. Okay, let's get into the first one. The first thing that I wrote down is test is a long-term strategy. In the book, This is Strategy, Seth Godin basically shares all the things that make up a business strategy. If you have a business, I'm drinking Red Bull right now, right? And it could be a product like this, or it could be a service, it could be, digital products. If you have a business, you need to figure out the strategy that you follow to serve the people that you serve in a profitable way. The goal of any business is to make money. And for you to be able to make money, somebody else needs to give you money. And so using the podcast as an example, the reason why I took a few days off is because I wanted to figure out how do you make this project, right? If you consider this as a side project, because really this is not my main gig. This is not what I do. This is not how I make my money. How do I turn the podcast into something that not only helps me achieve my goals, which for now, my goal is to um, explore interesting ideas that allows me to know more about the world and how the world works and how people and not just people, like the world, like there's a lot of things to know about the world that I'm very, very interested in. And how can I use it as a channel for me to explore those things and at the same time package it in a way that is useful to you? Because if it's not useful to you, then me exploring that through this medium really doesn't make sense. And how do you build a business around that? One of the concepts in this strategy is every business strategy needs to be based on systems. If you think about Red Bull, for me to buy Red Bull, I have to go to a store. I went to a store. I went to Walmart and got it from Walmart. Not only how it got to Walmart is probably through a distribution channel that is not owned by Red Bull. They could have their own distribution channel. But the main point is that there are different players, different companies or different people working together for the product for Red Bull to come from the production where they produce the product to me drinking the product, me the customer drinking the product. There's a lot of players, there's a lot of interconnected things that have to work together for this to come together. Every business has those systems, right? They have there's a system running things. And you need to figure out what that is. For the podcast business, for people to make money, you either have to make your own products and promote them, or you need to promote other people's products and they pay you. In which case, for them to give you money to promote their products, you need to have a big enough audience. That's number one. But also, the audience has to be engaged. It has to be a community. It has to be interested in you enough to trust that the product you're promoting is going to be good for them. And that takes a long freaking time to build. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of being strategic about it. Like you need to figure out how do you make content that's the system that makes podcasting work. People have to give you money to promote the stuff that they're making. People who have money, meaning companies, and you have to build a big enough audience and engaged audience that trusts you. For these people to trust that if they give you money, they're going to make they need to trust that it's an investment worth making, right? They're going to get a return on it. If you think about it as that, then all of a sudden, how I approach producing or making this podcast changes a little bit, right? My mission doesn't change. Like what I'm trying to do here doesn't change. I still want to pursue things that I'm interested in. I still want to use the podcast as a venue for me to explore the world. But when you think about it in, the system that the podcasting business exists and things that has to come together for this to be a self-sustaining thing and something that can make money down the line and make good money, not just, make ends meet, you need a couple of things has to change, right? I need to be thinking a little bit more about one, what are the ideas that I'm talking about and how do I talk about them in a way that's going to be useful to you? And how do you, when I start having people on, who do I have on, right? If I have this person on, is it likely that the next person I'm going to have is going to be better? By that, I mean, like, if you get a guest on, let's say I have Michelle Obama as the first guest, it's likely that there's no person in the world who's going to say no after Michelle Obama has been on my podcast. That would be different if I just have someone on who nobody knows, right? Which I'm still like, I still want to be genuinely interested in talking to this person. So if I have somebody who nobody knows, but I'm interested in talking to them, I'm going to talk to them, and I'm going to explore the conversation and have the conversation. I still want this to be like something that's based off of like as an extension of me, an extension of what I'm interested in. But at the same time, like, I need to be thinking about not just, I need to show up and, film a podcast. Like, I've done the bare minimum, which is, I've showed up for 16 or 17 podcast episodes. And that was me trying to get in the, groove and trying to figure out, okay, now this is how you do it. This is the show. This is, how you show up. This is how you talk to people. This is like, I needed to figure out that first, how to produce it, like, and all the things that has to come together for me to be able to sit down, at this time and whatever, and considering like every other thing that is going on in my life too. Now that I've done that out of the way and figured out the technicalities of the whole thing, I need to be smart a little bit about how I approach it. So understanding that is what I'm trying to do. When I say that taste is a long-term strategy, I basically mean that I could either say that I'm going to focus on making money. I'm going to try as much as possible to figure out how do I make the show to make money as soon as possible. In which case, I would approach it completely differently than if I say I'm going to focus on trying to make sure that I make the podcast as useful to you as possible, build a genuine connection with people that watch the podcast, and make sure that I'm showing up every single week, and then figure out how do I monetize the community that I've built. Is it gonna be through some sort of product that you genuinely are interested in me producing? Or is it gonna be me recommending products that I genuinely think that would make your life better? Like, if I approach the podcast with a short-term strategy of saying, hustle, make money as soon as possible, or this is going to be my life's work and I want to genuinely make an impact in the world through the podcast, the things that I talk about would be very different. The speed at which I would be working to try to force this to work would be different. And I think I would enjoy it a little bit more if I just follow what I'm interested in, which is the test, and play this game as if it's a long-term strategy, because it is. Like, I want to do it until hopefully I'm 60 or 70 or however long I'm going to live. And I want this to evolve as I evolve, because, 28-year-old me is not going to be talking about or interested in the same things when I'm 40, right? I might have kids then, and I would want maybe to talk about fatherhood. Maybe I want to talk about fatherhood now because I'm genuinely interested in learning about, how do you become a good dad? How do you become a good husband and whatever? And I might have those conversations down the line. But my point is that I do want to make money. I do want to use this. This is a business for me. I treat it as a business. But from a strategy perspective, I do think that following my interests, at the same time making sure that my interests align with your interests, that would make me achieve a little bit more than I would if I just try to hustle you to get or to make money through this project as soon as possible. I want to focus on value. I want to focus on making it so valuable that making money is inevitable. Like that's my goal, right? How do you make a product, in this case the podcast, in a way that it's so valuable that making money out of it is inevitable, right? And I'm okay that taking 5 years. I'm okay that taking 3 years. I'm okay that taking 10 years, right? Because intrinsically doing the podcast that way would be enjoyable to me. And there would be a little bit less frustrations, right? The podcast is a little bit different than the service business, which is for me like this, that is the short term game that I would be playing, which is I'm also playing that, right? At the same time, thinking of strategy, if I'm not, relying on this for money, at least in the short term, I need to figure out how in the short term, what am I going to do, right? How am I going to make money? How am I going to, because you need money to live, you need money to pay for bills, you need money to do anything, most things. And if I'm not, relying on this, I need to rely on something else. And that is what I'm working on in the background. I'm not gonna talk about it in this podcast specifically, but I might down the line. Yeah, if you have an idea, if you have a business, if you have a project that you're working on, or something that you want to bring in the world, and that thing is less likely to make you money in the short term, treating it as if it has to make you money in the short term is not a smart strategy. That's why reading the book This Is Strategy was useful for me, because at least helped me see the entire system of podcasting and any other business that I would like to go in. Like, you need to figure out what are the touch points, what are some of the things that needs to come together for you to be able to make money. And the podcasting business is a trust-based business. You have to build trust with your audience first before you can make money out of it. And if you approach it as if that's not the case, you're not living in reality. And I know that makes it very, very hard. Like, I understand how difficult that is to do and work on something and put in so much time without expecting any outcome out of it, monetary, financial outcome out of it, and just, continue showing up. That's not like easy. I'm not saying that is easy. Just why you need to find a way to enjoy it. If you have a similar project that you're working on, if you have a business that is less likely to make you money in the moment, but might make you a gazillion amount of money down the line, do yourself a favor and just accept that it's going to take a freaking long time for it to work, for it to start like working, for it to start making you money. And follow your interests, follow the reason why you started doing it anyway, right? Because I started filming this podcast not because I was saying that I'm going to make money out of it. The idea of making money out of it started as I started going. I was like, oh, this could become, something. It could become something that could make me money. And I have been tempted to approach it as a short-term game. Like, play it as, try to hack the algorithm, but beat myself up for maybe not reaching the goals, short-term goals that I've set. I need to reach this many people. I need to get this many people to follow the podcast. And I do still think that it's fine to have those goals. It's fine to have ambition, short-term ambitions, if you can. But I think it's useful to approach it as a long-term game. The second thing that I wrote down is that you might lose your job sooner than you think. Yeah, I have spoke about AI twice, I think, on the podcast. And for a person who's interested in knowing and understanding how the world works, because I genuinely believe that everybody has a limited understanding of how the world works. There's always something that I'm blind to. There's always something that you're blind to. Depending on how you grew up, depending on, your values and beliefs and whatever. Like, there's a lot of things that you don't understand. And the only way to make sure that you have a useful perspective on the world is to try and expand what you know about the world. What do you know about people? What do you know about business? What do you know about the forces, different forces, politics or whatever, that makes at least the current reality of my life and your life be what it is. And one of those things is technology. Technology changes your life, my life. It impacts most of everything that in the current society, at least, we do. And AI, artificial intelligence, is a technology, I've said it before, unlike any other technology that has ever been made, at least in the recorded history. I'm pretty optimistic about it. I think it's going to change my life for the better. It's going to change the world for the better, but it's also going to make a lot of people suffer. But the reason why I'm saying this at this moment is because Fiverr, which is one of the biggest, I think, it's a really big tech technology, right? Tech company. It's basically a company on which you go if you have, maybe like a video that you want edited, if you want a web design job done, like you can go on and hire a freelancer, hire a contractor for a period of time. And basically, the CEO of the company sent an email. Wait, what? And the CEO of the company, Micah, shared an email a month ago, I think, to his company, which got leaked on the internet. He leaked it himself. And, warning the employees about AI. And I really want to read the entire email to you. I'll also link it down below if you want to go check it out yourself. Because when somebody who works in the tech industry like that, like sends an alarming message like this, I have to pay attention. I was already paying attention anyway, but I think it can be useful to you if you didn't know about it. Okay, he says, "Hey team, I've always believed in radical candor and despise those who sugarcoat reality to avoid stating the unpleasant truth. The very basis for radical candor is care. You care enough about your friends and colleagues to tell them the truth because you want them to be able to understand it, grow, and succeed. So here is the unpleasant truth. AI is coming for your jobs. Heck, it's coming for my job too. This is a wake-up call. It does not matter if you are a programmer, a designer, a product manager, data scientist, lawyer, customer support rep, salesperson, or a finance person, AI is coming for you. You must understand that what was once considered easy tasks will no longer exist. What was considered hard tasks will be the new easy. And what was considered impossible tasks will be the new hard. If you do not become an exceptional talent at what you do, a master, you will face the need for career change in a matter of months. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not talking about your job at Fiverr. I'm talking about your ability to stay in your profession in the industry. Are we all doomed? Not all of us, but those who will not wake up and understand the new understand the new reality fast are unfortunately doomed. What can we do? First of all, take a moment and let this sink in. Drink a glass of water or Red Bull. Let's talk about what would help you become an exceptional talent in your field. These are very important. 1. Study, research, and master the latest AI solutions in your field. Try multiple solutions and figure out what gives you superpowers. By superpowers, I mean the ability to generate more outcomes per unit of time with better quality delivery. This is so important. And I've said this before on the podcast, but I'm going to say it again. If you are not using AI tools in your work, regardless of what you do, not just what he mentioned above, you're really playing with fire. Like the only way to know how to use AI is to use AI. Okay, the second thing he said that you should do, that the employees should do, but you also should do, I should do, is find the most knowledgeable people on your team who can help you become more familiar with the latest and greatest in AI. Yeah, if you don't know how to use it yourself, try to find somebody who does. Google, look it up, do as much as possible to know what in your field are the tools that you should be using and how do you get the most out of it. Time is the most valuable asset we have. If you're working like it's 2024, you are doing it wrong. What used to be the bar is the starting point. Like what you were expected to do as a video editor, as a coder, as a marketer, as whatever, can now be done by AI. So naturally, you're gonna have to figure out a way to do something that AI cannot, at least at the moment, right? Or use AI to do something that, combining your brain and the brain of AI is remarkably better than what you can do on your own. If you have used AI, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is for a person who is still not, sold on. Maybe you think it's just technology. It's not just technology. This message is basically saying, yo, wake the fuck up. This is not, something that you need to play with. Like what used to be expected of you is going to double, is going to triple, is going to, who knows what's going to happen. Okay. Number 4, become a prompt engineer. Google is dead. LLM and Gen AI are the new basics. And if you're not using them as experts, your value will decrease before you know what hit you. Use it. Basically, use it. 5, get involved in making the organization more efficient using AI tools and technologies. It does not make sense to hire more people before we learn how to do more with what we have. And this is a little bit scary, right? Because he's basically saying before we hire people, let's just figure out how do we do what we're hiring for by using AI. And that means that if you lose a job, it's probably going to be 10 times more difficult to get another job because people are just not going to be hiring for any other job. You need to be bringing something very, very special to the table to get a job. Okay, number 6, understand the company strategy well and contribute to helping it achieve its goals. Don't wait to be invited to a meeting where we ask each participant for ideas. There will be no such meeting. Instead, pitch your ideas proactively. If you have an idea, if you think there's something that can be done in the company that's going to improve the performance of the employees or maybe lead to the company making way more money than it is currently, go and pitch it. Be proactive. And yeah, the subtext of this is like doing what is expected of you is not enough no more. You gotta bring something else to the table because AI is doing what is expected of you. Yeah, you're gonna have to bring something else to the table. You're gonna have to contribute, be proactive, think about, your business and your job and how do you contribute to your company way more than what it used to be. Just showing up at 9 and leaving at 5 and getting paid by doing what is expected of you, that's not gonna cut it. Normal is not gonna cut it. Stop waiting for the world or your place of work to hand you opportunities to learn and grow. Create those opportunities yourself. I vow to help anyone who wants to help themselves. I'm gonna stop there, but basically the gist of it, for me, what I got out of it is for a tech CEO to share something as alarming as this. And I recently saw the CEO of Claude AI as well, speaking basically in the same way, saying this is serious, guys. This is gonna change the world as we know it. The world of work is gonna change. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. Makes me think they probably know way more. They know these are people who know a lot about what is actually happening. What is the process going like? The process of developing these AI models, and I just have to trust them and really try to invest in getting the most out of AI tools and making sure that when it does come to, getting fired, at least you know how you can I don't even know, dude. What can you do? At least you can use the AI models to figure out what to do next, right? Start a business or start a side project. For me, that's, yeah. It's sort of inevitable that we're going to have to face a day in which most people get replaced by AI. Or if they don't get replaced by AI, at least the company owner, the person who has the job, is going to choose to work with people or work with machines. And that sounds like it's never going to be reality. Seeing people like this who are tapped in, who know what actually is happening, what progress is being made in the AI models, send alarming messages like this, it's about to go down. And if they choose to work with you, if they choose to work with the person, Like you gotta think about what are they choosing, right? And what else are you bringing to the table? Are you a nice person? Like I've talked about this before. Are you a kind, nice person? Will people have fun working with you? And what are you bringing to the table? Like, why should anybody hire? If AI can do your job, why should anybody hire you? You know, you're gonna have to think about that, like a lot. I think about that a lot. And the least you can do is use the tools. Really, like try to use the tools in whatever you do. Whatever you do. It doesn't matter what you do. Now you can use it. Because that is a skill. Like people are going, if they do choose to hire you, you're gonna have to have that skill. You're gonna have to have a way to demonstrate that. And yeah, it's gonna get weird really quickly. But hopefully it's for the better. Let's be optimistic. Okay. Cool. All right. Those are the two things. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.